As you know, we are no fan of the congressman known as Osama bin Ackerman. Osama bin Ackerman, who, he weighs as much as Afghanistan. Osama bin Ackerman went on national television in mid-December, on national television, and condemned JTF and condemned me personally on national television. He called us wackos. He said we're wackos. Now, we'll get to that in a moment, who the wackos are. We'll talk about wackos. I could say you have to be a wacko to have a waistline like his. Although I'm glad he has a waistline like his. I hope he eats until he busts. But anyway, Osama bin Ackerman condemned us and said, we have a cable TV show, we're wackos, we're extremists, we're this, we're that. And then made a very interesting statement. He said, no punishment is too harsh for them. No punishment. No matter what punishment you give them, it's not harsh enough for them. That's what he said. In other words, death and torture would be too lenient for us. This is the same Osama bin Ackerman who on September 14th, 1993, after the notorious, horrendous, evil White House handshake between Yitzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat, the Arab Hitler, he met with the Arab Hitler, Yasser Arafat, shook his hand, kissed his behind, and then got his autograph, and on ABC national television, this was on September 14th, 1993, on ABC national television in front of 10 million people on the Peter Jennings ABC Bolshevik news program, Osama bin Ackerman was jumping up and down, and you could feel it was very, I don't even know what it was on the Richter scale in the Washington, D.C. area, but he was jumping up and down and screaming, I have Arafat's autograph! I have Arafat's autograph! This is a so-called Jewish congressman drooling, having what I'm not even going to say what he was having, but just absolutely so thrilled that he had the Arab Hitler Yasser Arafat's autograph. This is the Arab Hitler Yasser Arafat, who since the 1950s, has murdered thousands of innocent Jewish men, women, and children. Arafat, Ackerman supports. All the Arab murderers, Ackerman supports. That he supports. We, JTF, we're wackos. We should get the most severe. He said no punishment is harsh enough for us. You can't possibly come up with a punishment. He said this at a press conference that he held with an Arab congressman. And he was kissing the Arab congressman, a certain part of the Arab congressman's physique, the same way he did with the Arab Hitler Yasser Arafat. And Osama, I'm just listening to some of the comments from the peanut gallery here. Anyway, and I don't want to say peanut gallery. I don't want to get Osama bin Ackerman hungry. But anyway, Osama bin Ackerman was actually, he was so thrilled over Arafat and praises Arafat and fights for Arafat and says, yes, we must have peace with, and condemns Israel. He condemns Israel. He says Israel, little Israel, isn't giving the Arab Hitler Arafat enough territory. The Arabs have more than 600 times the land that little Israel has. But Osama bin Ackerman isn't happy. That animal wants Israel to give up everything. Israel is so small, Ackerman can't even fit in Israel. And he demands that Israel make more surrenders and commit national suicide. You remember when that slob was in the Chinese restaurant? You remember this? You remember when he was in the Chinese restaurant on Queens Boulevard? And a robbery took place, an armed robbery, when his friend David Dinkins was mayor. We'll get into that also. And an armed robbery took place, and Ackerman, the brave, great Osama bin Ackerman, dove under the table. You remember that? And not only did he dive under the table while the firing was going back and forth and people were getting shot, he dove under the table. People in the restaurant said they couldn't believe their eyes. He grabbed the plate and took it under with him. He was still eating. He couldn't stop eating his pork chops in the Chinese restaurant while the shots were being fired. He was still picking out on those pork chops. He was still slobbering all over those tray pork chops in the Chinese restaurant. And then he told the media afterwards, he said to the media afterwards, he said he saved the waitress, and he did this and he did that. It was such a farce. he was such a coward and such a slime, they actually did a TV show on that. They actually did a television show where they show a congressman doing that and then trying to take credit, being a coward and eating hysterically while the shots are being fired, and then trying to take credit with the media afterwards for supposedly saving the day when in fact he was a total coward. They actually did a TV show ridiculing him. That's the congressman from Great Neck, from Whitestone, from Bayside. We're so proud. He's our congressman. What a disgusting individual. Just disgusting individual. And you know, I mean, he is the second fattest, ugliest, and most disgusting member of Congress. The first ugliest, fattest, and most disgusting member he was standing next to at that press conference, and that was Gerald Nadler. And you know, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing that Gerald Nadler and Gary Ackerman were actually standing next to each other in one spot. I mean, it's a good thing the press conference wasn't held in Manhattan. The island would have sunk. I mean, what a hideous, and he says, I watch their show and they call me all types of names. Would I call Osama bin Ackerman names? Would I call you names, Osama? Why would I call you? I wouldn't call you a stinking, filthy, fat slob. Would I call you that? Would I say you're a stupid, slimy, cowardly, filthy, Judenrat traitor, capo piece of dirt? Would I say that? Would I say, you cowardly animal, that people were being shot in the restaurant and you're still slobbering over your pork chops in the Chinese restaurant, you pig? You're a pig. You eat pork. You're a cannibal. The fact that you eat pork chops, that's cannibalism for you, you hog. You're fat and ugly. I mean, no, it's true. You're fat and ugly. Your wife is fat and ugly. Your children are fat and ugly. You don't have a family. You have a pig pen. Anyway, and he goes on national television and criticizes us. Can you imagine this? Us he criticizes. And you know, I shouldn't insult pigs. Yosef Ben Meir, who is a great animal lover, always tells me, stop insulting pigs. And he's so right. He's so right. Pigs at least care about preservation of their species. Ackerman, I don't know what species Ackerman comes from. I don't know what is the Ackerman species. What is the slimy species of Ackerman? He behaves like a worm, but he's fat as an elephant. I don't know what his species is. Him and his whole family look like that. And you're so proud. Oh, they're so proud. It's so wonderful. Oi, they're so fat. They're so ugly. They're so cowardly. They're so wonderful. It's great. Oi, oi, oi. Keep eating the pastrami sandwiches, fatso. Keep slobbering on all those pork chops, fatso. I hope you get a massive coronary, you fat pig. You low animal. Oh, and we're wackos. He said we're wacko. We're wackos. That's a New York term, he said. Yeah, he knows New York terms, this slob. He knows New York terms, that animal. They're wackos. And that's a real New York term, he said. You know, he's trying to show that he really knows New York terms, that animal. We're wackos. We're wackos. He stood on the floor of the Congress saying, Americans have a constitutional right to burn the American flag. And we're wackos. He supports same-sex marriages, and we're wackos. I think him and Gerald Nadler should be a same-sex marriage. We're wackos. I mean, can you imagine to eat yourself to the point where you weigh 3,000 pounds? We're wackos? Just look at yourself, you ugly animal. You hideous swine. Anyway, I think Israel should solve their problem and drop him on Gaza, on the Gaza Strip. That'll eliminate the Arab problem.